tent, we're going to be talking about using hashtags and how to tag other organizations. We'll be talking about that as well. I think you'll find those things really useful.
Good. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, Jim. Does anybody here, maybe we can just do a show of hands. Interested to know if there's a bank of Rotary. Yes, there is, Sandy. Thank you. Show of hands, how many people, or if your clubs use newspaper to try to do some advertising? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, good. Oh, 6. Thank you. And how many of you also leverage social media to the best of your ability? We'll say it that way. Just about everybody. Okay, cool. Is the Shelburne News a weekly newspaper, Sandy? I know you're folding laundry. Cool. So maybe once, if Sandy is able to interact with us later, we could find out exactly what her club is doing and see how it can help the other clubs.
Melissa, I have a question. What about our websites? Like, I never go on our website. There are people, I'm talking about our club
Right.
specifically. So I know we do a Facebook page, but like, how much should we be, like, what should be on that
So
besides
depending upon
on it?
what your website is created out, like if it's a Club Runner website or a WordPress website, or if it's just a static website. If it's just a static website, it's basically just an online brochure where you kind of probably point people to Facebook for information. But if it's WordPress or Club Runner, I would be posting articles, right? This week we had so-and-so as a speaker, and they talked about this, and this, and we inducted, a new member, and we had pizza for lunch. I mean, it could be really simple stuff, but I would be doing updates. Do you have a project that you're doing? Are you involved in any grants? Is there a particular service project that your club is passionate about? Or maybe they do a big annual fundraiser, right? I would be talking about maybe some of the behind the scenes things that take place when setting up that fundraiser or working on that particular project, or, setting up a service project has multiple steps. So if you share, hey, this week we're trying to recruit people for our publicity committee to talk about the service project. And this week we're trying to get people who are talented with a hammer. Just stuff. It could be just anything that your club is doing that you think, actually, I don't even want you to I don't want you to guess what the public would be interested in. I would just share things that are happening within your club and how you operate, right? So when somebody comes to your website, they're not just going to see a bunch of check and handshake pictures and your logo and a nice picture on the front. They're really going to be able to find out how you operate, what you're about, what you like to work on. And that's how clubs get to share their personalities, right? Every club has a different personality. That's how clubs will get to share their personalities through their websites and through Facebook and social media.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So it's 7:03. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So I'm going to ask Lizzy to mute everyone and to start our slideshow.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was driving the slides. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
I have them right here.
I'm glad one of us does. Mike, welcome, and understood about the camera issues, but I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
And share.
All right, that's our official beginning. So welcome, everybody. I am glad that you have come to join us for our first public image webinar of the Rotary year. Today's webinar is going to predominantly be focused on social media tools that you can get from Rotary International and your CNY Rotary team. We're going to talk a little bit about knowing your audience, how to get creative with some of your content, maybe save you some time in social media. Deb is going to be talking about boosting posts, and Lizzy has some great information about protecting your social media pages. If you recall, there were a bunch of pages that were getting shut down left and right, and Rotary has taken some action to be able to assist us with that. I am going to conclude with our CNY public image grants, which I'm hoping each of your clubs will apply for. And then we'll have some Q&A. As we go through the slides, you are welcome to post questions in the chat box. This way you don't forget about them. I will try to get to them as quickly as I can. Some of them might be saved for the end so that we can kind of work our way through the presented material and then have a nice discussion afterwards. So let's start off with tools, right? So one of the questions early on was, is there a place to get graphics and video and all of that sort of fun stuff? And the answer is yes. Rotary International has set up what they call the Brand Center, and you can access that through brandcenter.rotary.org. And there you can create your club logo. You can find tons of images and videos. You can find other educational resources to share with your club. People of action materials. There's even some discussion about how to promote Rotary and strengthen our brand. And I believe there might even be some direct links over to the Learning Center that has some public image training as well. In the Brand Center, and I don't think that I have an extensive screenshot of it, but in the Brand Center, you can also create a brochure for your club. You can download, I don't know if they do business cards. Do they do business cards there? Anybody have the answer to that? They don't. Okay, sorry. But you can create a brochure, one of those nice little trifold brochures. You can download your logo. And then there are other outside tools that are available to create business cards and all that sort of fun stuff. So if you're short on pictures and you're short on videos, the Brand Center is the place to visit. On CNY Rotary, we have some tools under our public image page. We've posted a sample social media calendar, right? Giving you some great ideas on the types of posts that you can share across your social media presence, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Lord only knows where else you might be. Maybe you're doing videos on TikTok by now and snapping away and getting crazy. There is information about the news network, which is our CNY News Network is a place where you can submit articles about what's happening in your club, and it gets shared on the district's Facebook page. I mean, the district's website, and then onto the district's Facebook page. And then from there, we also hope that you would take those links and share them to your club's Facebook page and any other groups. So if we're sharing a story, let's see, let me pick one really quick. So the Global Grant Committee is assisting a hospital in Thailand. this is a great little article. It gives people some inkling as to what some of our larger grants are up to and how we're benefiting not people just in our backyard, but around the world. This gets shared on our Facebook page, and we also have a news network group that we started when we were having Facebook page issues. And you can take that information and share it over to your club pages as well if you're looking for some additional material. In the public image page, there's also informative tips, and I created a CNY Rotary social media guide, which basically talks about each of the different social media networks, kind of what works on them, what may not work on them. And there has to be at least 30 sample posts that you could modify and use for your own Rotary Club. Phew, that was a lot. And now I am going to turn it over to Joe.
All right. Hello, everyone. So I have a few topics tonight. The first I'm going to start with is know your audience. And even though it's not on the slide, I'll add know your platform to the list. Here are just some basic age demographics. And here, this is what the stat I found said peak age was. So obviously, it looks at Facebook 25 to 54. Yes, there are people over 54 on Facebook, and there might be a few people under 25 on Facebook. But just if you look at the age range for Facebook, it's obviously a lot bigger. Same with LinkedIn, which a lot of people people who are still working kind of use, or very involved in volunteer efforts because that's more of a businessy platform, trying to share stuff from work and other places. Compared to like if you look at TikTok, right? Their peak age demographic is like 16 to 24. And so just looking kind of at these different platforms, I put Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn in bold because, I see based on what I'm seeing across the district and whatnot as kind of your biggest opportunity social media pages as far as people who are like most likely to be members. Whereas Instagram has still got a young enough demographic where you can also try to, keep yourself looking attractive to possible members of a younger demographic. TikTok could be interesting. You kind of follow the news and you wonder, if it's going to get banned or not banned or whatnot. So because of that, there's been a lot of hesitancy. I know even working at a college to kind of put too much time and effort into the platform. But it's a cool thing if you have someone that's really interested in TikTok. I think if you have a club that happens to have a strong Rotaract or Interact presence or relationship there, that could be interesting. Some of those, even the Snapchat, those younger demographic social media pages. But if not, like I said, I think most of the time, as long as you're posting on Facebook, Instagram, considering LinkedIn, it is a good suggestion at least to start. And we have 4 different kinds of Mark Ruffalo over here in the corner on the meme. And disregard Tinder. That's just the dating app that for some reason the meme just happened to also include. But I'm going to focus on like Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So whereas we talked about LinkedIn being more professional, right? A lot of people use it to showcase their job, what they're doing at work, what their company is doing, that type of thing. It's a more businessy or academic space. So what I mean by that, whereas you see Facebook and Instagram being more fun, you just keep that in mind with your content as far as knowing your platform. So for example, maybe your club wants to do something fun for like National Puppy Day, right? Okay, cool. Um, Facebook and Instagram might be the place for that. I would maybe not consider doing that on your LinkedIn page. LinkedIn tends to, like I said, be more serious, where you might want to share more your news releases, your bigger service projects, or maybe a general flyer or something encouraging people to come to a meeting whenever a flyer that states where you meet and how frequently. So I'll go to the next slide. So in addition to knowing your audience, Uh, hopefully, everyone on the call, you might know about algorithms on social media. Um, you ever wonder if you go on and all of a sudden, you were maybe searching for boots that you wanted to purchase or something, and all of a sudden you see on your Facebook feed, all of a sudden you've got ads for boots and other stuff. So as far as algorithms go, the way it used to be on social media, uh, it kind of followed a social graph. So you kind of the people you saw and the things you saw were tied to just who you were friends with, right? Your family members, your close friends, and then you'd see maybe mutual, like if you're thinking of Facebook, people you may know, who are maybe you have lots of mutual friends together, and that's how it used to be, where it was all kind of driven by the people you followed. Whereas today, it's kind of shifted the algorithm and interest, um, and as far as what you're interested in. So, a lot of times now, it's like if you're interacting with a lot of cooking things, or if you like jazz music or golf, a lot of that will kind of direct your algorithm. So, well, that's a lot of social media terms. One thing you can do to kind of capitalize with this shifting demographic is to consider some hashtags at the end of your article. So, for example, uh, let's say I'll use Jim as an example in New Hartford, right? They do a lot of, Chuck and them, they have a lot of environmental projects. So, the microforest and the microplanting. So when they're maybe putting that on social media, if you incorporate some hashtags at the end, like, environment or gardening, you might be able to then enhance your post to maybe get or target those people who are kind of have those as their interests. And then also too, you can do it geographically in terms of, if you're in Syracuse, put hashtag Syracuse. Sometimes that'll help as well when people are searching for posts or there. So hopefully I described that well enough. Melissa Rathbun, our esteemed public image chair, is my teacher when it comes to the social and interest graphs. So um, next slide, please.
Is everyone seeing the slides okay? I saw a comment in the chat, they were not coming through.
Oh, okay. So content ideas. So I'm a writer by trade, so content's a really fun thing for me. So these are just a few ideas of things you can do on social media to do fun posts. Meeting recaps, right? Most of us meet on a regular basis. So if there's someone in your club or a couple people that have a smartphone, they can take a picture of maybe whoever the guest speaker is with a couple of club members, or them talking to another club member. Yes, you can use the podium shot. That tends to be kind of overused in the social media space, but if that's all you have, it's not bad to throw up either if it's someone speaking. I would encourage some variety in your shots as far as photos, but it's a good social media content to put up there on your Facebook, just a picture and maybe a paragraph, letting people know, you know, reminding them when you guys meet, where you meet. Also, if there's a business or a speaker from a local organization, just mentioning them kind of helps, and tagging, which Deb will get to a little more later. Uh, all of those things can kind of enhance the intention you get, but also kind of show your club as being vibrant and having different community people involved. Service projects are an obvious one, right? Rotary service above self. If you have a big project or you're doing something really amazing, like I know Gertrude, I'll shout out her as an example. They do there's some really good international connections and such that they work on. So if they're doing something like that, you put that on your social media platform to let people know about it. Uh, it's always a good content. I really like member spotlights for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think it's always cool to highlight the people that we have in our clubs, but also you think about it from a marketing perspective, right? For kids that are going to college and other places, you want to try to. Sometimes people want to see themselves, right, and who a club is, right? So if you see a picture of a club or you see someone, you're like, oh, you know, Jim High is a really cool guy. He's really interesting. His interests kind of align with mine. I want to check out this Rotary Club. So there's that, but also, like I said, it shines the spotlight, gives some credit to your members as well. But also, it's like I said, helpful to just kind of show people who your club members are and who they might be getting to know. Photos in the community is really cool also. A lot of people think with content that you have to keep things Rotary specific. And Rotary stuff is great, but I'll just give one example. Me and about 5 other Utica Rotarians went to Munson, which is the art museum in Utica's Halloween party. And so it was a good opportunity the next day to put a picture up on social media of all of us in our costumes at this party having a really good time. And that kind of shows off 2 things. One, it kind of helps plug Munson and that we're in, it shows that we're in the community. But 2, it also shows that not that meeting and doing service projects isn't like an amazing thing, but people join Rotary for different reasons. Some it's for service, some it's for networking, some do it for fellowship. So something like that, a post can show kind of more the fellowship side and even the networking side to a degree to show that you're being out there. Be the brand. I quote Joel Solway, who is who I call Canada Joe, who I met in Toronto. He's very active in the Toronto area. He's on the district, the zone public image committee. He always says if you're going out to a local event or a fundraiser, like American Heart Association, or we'll use that as an example, like they're having a big walk in your community, you show up with a couple of your Rotary pals, you're wearing Rotary jackets and whatnot, you throw that picture up there, and also while you're there, it kind of is also a marketing tool for you, but from social media content, it's just more stuff that it might not be directly related to your club. You might just be supporting it, but it's interesting content to show that you're in your community and that you're just, like I said, a fun group to be around. I won't linger on videos or reels, but like I said, the fact that a lot of us have these cool smartphones today, there's a lot of capabilities to just take really quick video. Sometimes it's 10 to 15 seconds. If you're at like a really amazing service project, you can either just like I said, take a short video. You can do a couple of photos, and there's a lot of different tutorials out there for your accounts on Instagram and other places on how to put these quick reels together. Lizzy does a great job of them when she goes to area visits and puts them up on our social media platforms. So those are also good because, like I said, some people respond to video, some people like photos better, but all in all, it's visual and it's just really cool and keeps your page looking like your club that's full of activity and vibrancy. So next slide. So we're going to transition into time savers, and we're going to kind of touch on a few of these different topics. I'm going to do the first one, which is repurposing content, which is the next slide. So what I used is one example is kind of when you go to events or you're doing a Rotary meeting or whatnot, to try to think of things from a multifaceted lens, right? So this is one example. In the Utica Club, Dave Jones, who's in our club, leads up this tree planting effort with Barb Freeman, who's an Adirondack Rotarian, and partners with the city of Utica. We plant 40 trees every year in areas where there's blight and are economically struggling areas. And so what I did going to the event was I knew that our club has a weekly newsletter that Bob Stronach puts together. So I knew I had to write a couple of paragraphs for Bob. So I took what I wrote and I also repurposed that into a press release. But in the context of today's training, which is social media, if you look to the right, I put very little. I just said another successful tree planting effort is in the books. Learn more about it in our newsletter. If you don't have a newsletter, maybe you put a story about it on your website. You direct people there, put lots of pictures. And so it was quick and easy. I think the post took me like 5 minutes or less to do because, like I said, it was just a short thing, leading people to other places that I knew I was going to write about it anyway. And so, yeah, thinking about a meeting, if you have, like I said, that guest speaker, keep it in mind that you're going to get, or someone in your club can volunteer to, I'm going to get a photo of this guest speaker doing something, whether he's at the podium or she's at the podium, whether she's interacting with members. Going into it with that in mind, because maybe some of you send out an email to your club, there's other things you do based on your meetings and your recaps, whether it's internal or externally shared. going into it with how can I take a few seconds, 5 minutes or whatnot, and based on the photos and a couple of notes that I took, how can I use it in as many ways as possible? So with social media, like I said, keep it brief. You don't have to do crazy long posts. Save that for wherever you're going to publish your longer stories or press releases. Just keep it quick and easy, but it's really simple to repurpose that content. So I think I'm going to transition over to Deb now, who's going to talk about boosting and advertising.
Thank you very much. And actually, if you could, if you could share my screen, that would be great. Or if I can share my screen.
Yeah, go ahead and just share, Deb.
Hi, everybody. This assumes that everybody has a Facebook page for their club. So am I correct in that? Is that a good one? Okay. Okay. If not, that's a separate conversation and we can do that at some other point in time. Let's see, is it coming? One of the things that I'm going to show you, a couple of things actually, is how to tag a business or a person in your posts. Did I not do this right?
Not coming through yet, Deb.
Oh, sorry, it's me. Hang on, let's see. I think it's going to be this one. Let's see. You got it now? There we go.
Loading now.
Awesome. Just somebody let me know when you can see it.
All good.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start here. So as you know, your Facebook page for your club is attached to your personal account. Okay, and so what we're going to do first is we're going to take a look at just changing profile over from me over to my Rotary Club. And I'm going to show you first. And I actually tried just boosting a regular post. I have no try. And hopefully we can get down here quickly. We did a project recently where we put together winter care package bags for folks that were homebound. And so we have a connection with North Country Ministries, and they have 27 people that are homebound, and there's a food truck that goes to them, so they don't have to come over to the food pantry here. So it's a mobile food pantry. So this was the post, and it was on January 22nd that I put it out. Pretty simple post, just kind of shows what we had, putting everything together, all the bags. We had little postcards that we wrote, and here's some folks in the club signing them. And I did a boost on this, and just so you can kind of see, we had 86 people who either liked it or loved it or cared about it. And then we had 23 conversations in the entire post. So a lot of people responded, oh, this is great, we love it, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to just compare that quickly because we're going to go, I think we're going to go this way. Because I have another, I did go the wrong way. Yeah, called the Crazy Downhill Derby. Now, we have this sled that's called the Rocket. There it is. And this is the Derby coming up. It's actually sponsored by the North Warren Chamber. So this one I put up, I didn't boost this one, and I put this one up on January 18th. And we only have 10 people who liked it, who responded in some way. We had one person who commented. I think it was actually my mom. Yep, my mom said it was cool. And we had 2 people who shared it. So that's just the difference between boosting a post and not boosting a post. That was where we changed the cover picture. And so you can kind of see that for very few dollars, I think I spent $15 on boosting this post, this one here. And if we look in here, there's a couple things we can do with this. So first of all, if you have a post like this and you want to tag some people in it, you can just click on the picture that's here. And up here in the upper right corner of the screen is a little tag, and you click on that. And now when you tap or come near a person, it's going to highlight that person, and you can type in that person's name. And there's our friend Doris. I think it's that one. And then this happens to be Mary Ann, so I'm going to put her in here. what this does is it sends it over to them to take a look at, and it will actually create a link to put this on their profile as well. So now you're getting more exposure through their friends and their groups of people. So that's one thing that you can do to get the word out there a little bit more. That's through people. The other thing you can do very simply is to, if you wanted to tag, let's say, for instance, so this was through North Country Ministries or with them. And so maybe we want to go ahead and name them as well. So we want to go in and edit the post in this case, because I didn't put it in to begin with. And I'm going to create a new line, and I'm just going to say at North Country, let's see, hang on a second, North Country Ministry, and it's right here. So now it's going to go over to them as well, and it'll be shared with all of those folks who like North Country Ministries. You cannot tag this user. So sometimes the users don't want to be tagged. So that one we'll take out for now. We might want to share it with, let's see if we can share it with CNY Rotary. Can we do that? No. There we go. So we have 701 followers there. So I'm going to send it over to that group. Let's see if we can do that. And it wasn't, don't want to do that one either. So I'm not really sure what this is. I haven't seen that before. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. But that is a little bit about tagging. I will
It
figure
might
out the
just be
other
because you'd
part.
already boosted it.
Is that it?
Might
Okay,
be.
so we'll do it on the next one because I'm going to show, we can put it on a different one too. So now the other thing that's interesting about this, because I did boost this one, I have all these 86 people here that liked it. Now this is pretty neat. If I click on this, it's going to show me the list of the people who actually liked it or cared about it. And notice how they're not followers or friends of the site. I keep scrolling down. There's a few that are, so you can see the difference. So here's a couple, Betsy and Marty are following us already. But I can invite all these people to go ahead and follow or like our site. So now I have a new audience of however many clicks I do here, up to 50 or so people, probably more, 80 or so. And now all these folks are invited, and hopefully my likes will go up. Hopefully my number of followers will go up for this site. And that's just a pretty cool trick that I actually stumbled upon one day. But so all you have to do is click here where the likes are. Okay. So far, so good. I can't see everybody, but everybody good so far? Got some nods out there? Okay. So now I'm going to go down to this other site, and I'm going to show you how to boost this. So you can put anything in here, really. You can make it a regular post. Just a post of what everybody's doing. Okay, this is our crazy downhill one. And I'm actually going to do a different one because I did it earlier. I don't know if I can do it that way. Let's see if I can do, no, that's create an ad. I went to go practice this earlier and I did hit boost. I did hit go ahead and publish by accident. So I'm just going to see real quick what else I might have here. A lot of regular stuff.
I have an event ad up if you want me to share
Okay.
that. I don't know if that would be helpful.
No, I've got this. So we'll just do Christmas with Santa real quick. I'm just going to show it for one day. So this is our Christmas with Santa event. Okay. And we have the option here at the bottom to boost this post to get a little bit more action on it. So that's what we want to do. So we're going to go to boost. And what it does is it questions and of options of how you want to boost it. So a lot of the defaults are here and are. So what kind of results do we want? You can change it up so that it can be, so that you can get more messages or more engagement. Those are usually the two that I use the most. It'll actually, when I go down below and I say, okay, I want to get more messages, it'll actually default more or less to getting more messages. So that's what the result will end up being. And if I want to add some different text, this is kind of neat. Right here, they actually do some cool kind of AI, I guess, type of interpretations of what my text was on the original. So I have Christmas with Santa in Chestertown today. We love this event. And they're doing some really cool stuff with it. Breaking, Santa's in town, join us for a magical Christmas experience. So that's pretty cool. So you can use one of them or you can use all three. And we're going to go down a little bit further. Advantage Creative, leverage the data to automatically deliver the ad creative variations to people when likely to improve performance. So getting those jazzy texts in there will help. Getting better quality leads. So what do I want to do? I want the button to say send a message. I don't really, not doing shop now or sign up or anything else, or, you know, I could have no button if I want, but I usually want them to try to send me a message. And then the messaging would be greetings, how can we help you? Can we tell us more about your organization, etc. So we're going to leave all that in there for now, but this is happens to be a default welcome template, and you can change it up any way you want. Getting more calls, that's something that if you are hooked up, they can actually call your business from their mobile phone, would be most likely. If you have an Instagram account, you can go ahead and connect with that as well, but we don't, so I'm going to take that off for now. Oops, oh, I didn't mean to say connect, I meant to say unconnect. Yeah. All right, I'll figure that part out later. Sorry, guys. Take that off for now. And when we don't have a WhatsApp either, so okay, so that would make sense that they say connect and we're not connected, because otherwise it would look like this. This is where the messages you want them to come through is through Messenger. Special ad category, it's not a financial product or service, it's not employment or housing, etc. So you can kind of skip that. Audience, who should you cater it to? And you can set this to anything you like. This is sort of the default, so it's the entire United States and anybody from 18 up can get it. But if you want to hit your local area, which in a lot of times that's really what I'll do, I don't really want to get too much further. It gives me a 30-mile radius around Chestertown, and that's perfectly fine with me. If I want, I can create a new one and get very specific about towns, etc. So here comes the duration, and you can set this for any amount of days that you like. Okay, and depending on what budget you set, it'll tell you how many accounts it may reach per day. So in this case, and I usually spend like around $20, and it depends on if it's an event, I would try to go right up to the day before the event. If it's something, you know, like this is, for example, which is a tester, I'm going to maybe just spend $5 on it, and I'm going to get some results, but not too much. So I might get 0 replies, but that's okay, because this is just a test for us. All right, and then the placement, and then this is my charge card. So as you know, since your account is hooked up to your Facebook account is hooked up to your club account, whatever card is in the system, it's going to use that one. So if you want to change it, you can here. And when you're ready to go and publish it, just click on publish. It's going to go through a submission process, and it's going to be accepted. And once it's accepted, it'll be on your website or on your Facebook page, sorry. So is that, hopefully that's helpful. I'm going to just kind of get this out of here for a second and see who's here. So is that helpful for folks? Is that doing some good? I don't see too many head nods, but I don't see you all.
That's okay.
Deb, one question someone
Yeah.
had in the chat was, how much do you budget for boosting posts?
It really depends. I mean, honestly, for me, this is part of my donation to the club when I do a boost. So if I want, usually I spend like $20 or $25 unless it's a really big event or a big thing, and then I'll spend more. I've spent up to 40 or 50. So for our Tri-Lakes events that are coming up, which goes on a separate credit card, those get a little bit further time out and a little bit bigger areas, because I want to get into Lake George, I want to get into Saratoga, and I want people to come here for it. So that's a little bit different than maybe something really local. I want to make sure for the ones that I showed you where it's a little project that we're doing, I want to make sure that the people in my area know what we're doing. So it depends on what the occasion is, whether it's like a project post that's, you know, very condensed, or whether it's an event where I really want people to come into town for. I hope that helps.
Can I, I'm gonna steal the screen for a second.
Oh,
if I
absolutely.
may. Let's see, this one. So one of the really important parts of advertising is you also end up getting a lot of information in the background. So here, now this was a higher budget item. I spent $62 over 57 days. So I spent about $1.20 a day. My goal was to get link clicks to sell tickets to an event. Those link clicks cost me 63 cents each, but I reached 8,488 people by doing this ad. And this tells me who engaged, how many people clicked, did I get reactions, how many people shared it. But the other fun thing that you get is these demographics. How old are the people that clicked? Are they male or are they female? Placements. A lot of my ads showed up in videos or on the mobile app, desktop feed, and then the desktop little right corner thing. And I used an audience that was just within 20 miles of Galway, New York. So these things are kind of important because over time, as you're boosting posts or placing ads, you can see who you're attracting to your page and who you're attracting to your ad. So if you want to be targeting, I have to go back to my people. So if your sweetest demographic, let's say you really want to reach people that are in the 35 to 44 age bracket, you don't care if they're male or female, maybe you need to work on your creative so that that would be something that's more appealing for that age group. Or maybe you need to reduce your targeting, right? So I sent this out for anybody who is the ages of 18 to 65 plus. But you can change that to say, let's see if it'll let me do it. Okay. You can change that to say, I only want people that are, say, from 21 to 50, for whatever reason. I'm just using this as an example. You can be as specific as you want. I also want to attract people that are into community activities, maybe people who are familiar with Rotary, business people, real estate people. So depending upon the event, I'm going to pick my audience and the kind of people, the demographics or the sociographics that I want to target through that. And I hope that didn't add to the confusion.
Yeah, and Melissa, and if I can just jump back in for a second, because
Sure.
I'm going to show some of the stats from the one that I boosted a few days ago with the where we did the winter bags, the project. And actually it was interesting because most of our respondents were women. And is that it? Yeah, there it is. So most of our respondents were women, which somewhat surprised me. But you know, we do have a lot of women in the community. So I definitely could try to edit that audience again and see if I could target more men, you know, and run it again. But yeah, just to exactly what Melissa said, it's like, you know, you can make some changes to it, but the results that you get are really pretty cool and fun to watch and see. So you've got some different details there. That's different. Preview the ad, edit the ad. Here's where you can edit it, edit your audience. And just like
Deb, are you sharing
just like
your
Melissa had
screen?
said, you can also specify the area, but you can also add what interests people have. And Melissa had said this, so I don't want to repeat her, but so sorry. Thanks.
Perfect. Lizzie, why don't we go back to the slides?
One second, I lost them.
That's okay. You're allowed to.
Okay, are you seeing them?
Okay. Yes. So Deb had talked about tagging, right? And how you can tag different groups. So we shared this for the Northville Rotary Club, the CNY tagged Northville Rotary to let them know that, you know, we tagged them and we're congratulating them on their 75th, 75 years of service. On the other side, you'll see that the Galway Rotary Club was hosting an event at the Galway Rock Winery, and we were featuring High Peaks Distilling and Galway Rock Wines, and food was done by the Wandering Food Booth. So all of those businesses got tagged as part of our event, and I tend to self-tag as well. And I'll explain it basically because if somebody shares the post, the tag to my Rotary Club, or if you do the same thing, your Rotary Club is still in the copy. And people tend to see that more than they do the, oh, this was shared from XYZ Rotary page. So self-tag, it's okay, it's allowed. So proceeds were benefiting the Galway Rotary Club and the Twin Bridges Rotary Club. But you'll notice all of those businesses got notified that they were tagged, so they know that we are promoting them as well as the event. And that's basically what happens when you tag another page. That was it. All right, this is all Lizzy. She's the pro.
Thanks, Melissa. Yes, I'm the professional at dealing with Meta when your Facebook page gets shut down. Um, Unfortunately, this is really common. Much like there are algorithms on social media that try to figure out what you're most interested in seeing in your news feed, there are algorithms that sort of police the platforms to identify potential bad actors. And unfortunately, sometimes you can get caught up in those algorithms when you're doing nothing wrong. And it happens quite a bit with Rotary pages because if you're doing a good job with your branding, you might look like Rotary International, or you might look like another Rotary page that's doing good with their branding. And so several times we've gotten caught up in that algorithm and accused of fraud or impersonation. And there's an appeals process, but it is challenging. And you may recall back in June, we were down for 2 weeks, right as we were transitioning to become CNY. And we were down for the whole month of October and then some. So the appeals process can be lengthy and really disrupt your communication tools online. Thank goodness Rotary International has stepped in to use the power of our big organization and make a connection with another big one, Meta, who owns Facebook and Instagram, and say, hey, we want to make a list of pages that we can confirm are legitimate Rotary pages that should not be questioned anymore. And they have done that. So when I'm done showing you the slides before we log off tonight, I will put this link right in the chat for you all. This just takes 1 minute. And it's a really quick form where you submit your name and your club and the link to your club's page. And they'll put you on a list that will hopefully help you avoid these issues in the future. And if you have a Facebook and an Instagram, you would complete the form twice, once for each page. So we really encourage every club to do this to really save yourselves the headache of getting shut down and having to appeal it, because we're all here for the right reasons, and those silly algorithms just don't know it.
All right, so hang on a second. Okay, anyway. Gertrude, yeah, that's a saver for the end. All right, so public image grants. CNY Rotary is offering up to $250 in matching funds for any evergreen public image project that you want to take on. So these funds can help you purchase materials and tools that will promote your club's visibility for years to come. So the two biggest requirements, your club must have a public image chair, and your club must enter their goals into My Rotary. Some ideas that you can use this, this public image grant for. Maybe you need tablecloths or pull-up banners or a pop-up tent or feather flags or banners, tote bags. T-shirts would definitely be included as long as they are not event specific and that they do not have any other sponsor or organization on them. In other words, we want items that are evergreen for your club. So yes, t-shirts would absolutely fit the bill. Like I'm wearing my CNY Rotary, oh, you can't see my logo, my CNY Rotary t-shirt. That would absolutely fit the bill. marketing tools like road signs, you need help with a website, you want more social media support, or maybe you want to hire somebody for 2 hours to do all of your social media for a couple of months. Whatever. Again, as long as it's evergreen. Event-specific items are not covered. So if you have an annual event or fundraiser that has its own logo, nothing with dates, nothing that is not going to allow you to use this for years to come. No Rotary themes, although we don't have that anymore, or in third-party sponsored items. I think I said that. So there are so many things that you can use this money for, whether it's to help, get a little bit of a better website, and you have somebody that you can pay to do that. You need more swag to be able to give out to people. I mean, there's tons and tons and tons of things. Last year, Galway Rotary used it to buy a tablecloth and a feather flag, I think. Yeah, feather flag. I think, Deb, did Chestertown buy a pop-up? Chestertown bought a pop-up tent, a branded pop-up tent. Tons of stuff. Submit an application. If for any reason there's something with the application that, I feel like we need to tweak, certainly we can, I would most definitely respond to that. So let me get you the link so I could pop it in the chat. I should have had that prepared. Apologies. Public image grants. One more. And then we would prefer applications to be in by March 1st so that we have time to be able to go through them. Everyone, that should be the link for you to go to. Why is it called evergreen? So like an evergreen tree, right? It's the same color in all seasons. So an evergreen public image item, like a t-shirt, like a table bed, it doesn't change. It's always the same. It's just going to be your logo. So it's something that will last over time. I hope that helps. All right. Any questions about, well, any questions? Let's just go there, whether about the grant or otherwise. So I will address if people are boycotting Meta, or if your members are boycotting Meta, there's really nothing that we as an organization can do about that. That is their personal preference. If you opt as a result to start leveraging other social networks that perhaps that they're on, certainly you have the ability to do that. That's about the only thing that I can say about that. Frank, there is one public image grant per club. So if you submit more than one, then we would have to pick a favorite. Link to Instagram, a list with Rotary International to help protect it. Yes. And Lizzy has shared the Rotary form and the instructions for protecting your page in the event of. Is there anything else that you need us to kind of go over? Grant link again. Yes, you can just scroll up. Sue, can you scroll up in the chat? If not, I'll just share it again. There you go.
Melissa, can you define a little more succinctly, because I've had some questions from some of my clubs on what are you looking for in terms of goals? Because there are some clubs that have their own individual goals, and then there's a larger base of goals. So just touch on that for a minute, if you could.
So it's really hard to quantify because it's probably the worst part of most of the clubs. So if you have a public image chair, I would like to see efforts being made, whether it's efforts to post on social media once a month. Like your club is going to come up with the goals. Posting on social media once a week would be an amazing goal in my world. Building a relationship with a newspaper, or whether it be a weekly or a monthly. Having a training for your members so that they can use social media more effectively. Any of those I would consider valuable goals for the club.
And will those types of goals weigh into the decision on whether a club is
No, I just want to know that you guys are leveraging, honestly, I just want to know that you're leveraging Club Central. That's
Okay.
why I put the requirement in.
Okay. Thank you.
And if
I just wanted to add for clarification to your public image.
branding. Sorry.
Your public image chair gets listed in Club Runner under your club executives. That's where we need to see that person listed. And then the goals go in Rotary Club Central, which is over on My Rotary. Just wanted to define those for you.
The other requirement, I'm sorry, for materials is going to be proper branding use. So you're going to be using the current Rotary logo, not the logo from a long time ago. So those things will be factored in as well.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Somebody asked about the time-saving tips. So in my opinion, I think some of the easiest, something like Facebook and Instagram allows you to schedule posts in advance, right? So if you know who your speakers are for the next couple of weeks, if you have something coming up in your club, you can set up those posts. Thanks, Lizzie. You can set up those posts well in advance, and then they're there and they're set it and forget it, and you don't even have to worry about it. So scheduling, I think, is really a huge time saver. Using a content calendar, like I shared the link earlier of the sample content calendar. If you and maybe one or two other people in your club say, you know what, I'm going to do Mondays, and I'm always going to, put up a motivational quote on Mondays. And our meetings are Thursdays, so somebody is going to go on Tuesday and post up about what's coming up at our next meeting. That kind of stuff. And there's bunches and bunches and bunches of ideas. Foundation Fridays. I love that idea, right? So focus on one of the 6 areas of focus. Every Friday, you can post up something that has to do with the Rotary Foundation. So a content calendar gives you ideas so that you are not sitting in front of the computer going, oh my God, what the heck are we going to post on Facebook this week? It's already, sort of there. And there are going to be things that are very specific and special that are just part of your club. I also will always recommend having 2 admins at minimum. God forbid somebody leaves the club and then the page goes into oblivion and nobody knows how to get a hold of it. So have 2 administrators on your page and maybe add 2 other people as editors. Maybe you have somebody in your club that's really good with graphics and using Canva and, or takes really great photos. Give them the ability to post those photos up on the page without having to send it to the quote unquote Facebook admin of the club. Make sure it's somebody you trust. You want to make sure that they're posting up good stuff. But these are things that'll help take burdens off of one person's shoulder. So you might have a public image chair. Maybe you have 2 or 3 other people in your club that use Facebook on a fairly regular basis. Leverage that. hey, if you're going to be on Facebook this week, can you post up some pictures of our last event? Make life easy and fun.
One comment, Melissa.
Sure.
Whoever you have as editors, make sure that they don't just know how to use Facebook, but they're cognizant of the difference between what they're posting on their page and the club page. We had
Oh,
a
it's a
little,
biggie. Yeah. It's a biggie.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. So I thought Deb, and you'll see it again in the recording, Deb did a great job of showing how to switch over to your page from your personal profile. So always remember to do that. Yes,
When you're
please.
going to comment, it'll say right in the field, kind of in light gray letters, commenting as, and it'll either say your name or your page. But that's all the more reason to have more than one person has access to edit your page, because they'll get notifications too if you accidentally posted something, and it's just a good safety net. Because it can happen to the best of us.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I manage multiple clients' accounts, and I'm quite sure the accountant was trying to figure out why there was a goat on his Facebook page until I remembered what I did and had to remove it.
Utica Rotary's newsletter was on SUNY Poly's Instagram for about 22 seconds until I realized that I accidentally posted it to the college where I work, to that social media account instead. Also has the same colors as Rotary, so that's another challenge. But yeah, it happens to everyone, even those who post a lot. So
Yeah.
So, Melissa or Joseph, earlier you were talking about the different demographics of social media and who would be more apt to be an audience.
Mhm.
Meta has a link, and I may not be describing this perfectly, but if you have a Facebook account and you have an Instagram account, you can link the two. So if you just post to Facebook, especially with just a video or a picture or video, it appears on Instagram. Could you just talk briefly about that and make sure everyone's aware of how that function works? Because I think that saves an additional step.
yeah, sure. Lizzy, while I start talking about it, can you take us to the CNY Rotary Meta Business Suite? So if you link your accounts in Meta's Business Suite, which doesn't cost, at least for the ones we use, doesn't cost any money. There are other things that we've leveraged, I know, in the past for other things, especially Melissa helping out when we got banned by Facebook for a while for the fraud thing. But here on the left side, you see this is what it looks like on the back end of the business suite. Planner is really cool because if you have multiple editors that are on your account, which we do for the district, you can click the little calendar and you can see all the stuff that's scheduled. So this is good to make sure when you're scheduling stuff ahead that you're not putting something at the same time as something else. So yeah, because typically we've all been there, right? You know, if you're looking at a social media page, you don't want to get 5 posts by the same place in like a 2-minute span or something like that. People might get a little annoyed. But over where Lizzy has it now, where it says post to, right out of the gate, you see how we have the Facebook and the Instagram linked. You can check as many as you want. Facebook, or like right now, it's just doing Facebook. Now, Lizzy put when it's both checked, you know, it does Instagram as well. The couple things of note here when you're doing posts, Instagram photos have to be cropped at a certain like way. So when you add a photo to the media area, usually it just makes it easier on everyone if you can crop it, even if it's the same size for both um, when you're posting it, because otherwise sometimes Instagram will do it for you, and then you know someone's head gets chopped off from a photo frame. So that happens. But like I said, you put the photos there or video and then post details, you type. So Lizzy, if you could just type, you know, a sentence. To the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see the Facebook feed preview. If you go up to where on the right, Yeah, so she'll put a picture in there. And then Lizzie, right above where the preview is, you see where it says Facebook feed preview? So if you click down there, click Instagram feed preview. And then here. So that's how it would look in either one. You can toggle between them. Back over to media for the question about cropping. There's a little pen there. So far, this image size, mostly because I know Lizzie usually crops these all in advance to be kind of Instagram safe and whatnot. Here's the crop feature. They give you original, square, horizontal, vertical. You can crop it whichever way you like. Any of those should be fitting with whatever Instagram or Facebook requires. So you can see all of that there. Your post details it on. If you scroll down even further, there's scheduling options. You click the set date and time. You can schedule the Facebook and the Instagram posts at different times, at the same time on a given day. And then you would just, see it shows you there. Sometimes you even saw it gives you some feedback on when the most active times are for folks on social media. My personal preference with scheduling, although you can do it anytime you want, tends to be either first thing in the morning on the weekdays, like we're looking 6:30, 7 in the morning, because people tend to be on their phones as they're getting ready for work, or in your evening hours, maybe that commute home time.
So this says our members are active Wednesday at 3 a.m. on Instagram. So apparently they are insomnia scrolling.
Huh.
Which could very well be the case. I'm gonna guess that those are some of our retirees who don't have to go to work the next morning, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, be careful, Joseph. We're old, but we're not all insomniacs.
Oh no, I just had a former guy that had a column in the sports paper, and he used to send me articles at like 4 a.m. and 3 a.m. and 2 a.m. So he would sleep till noon also, but that was just his schedule. But once you do a post or whatnot, you'll see it in the planner, and you can do it there. So Meta and Facebook, Facebook, Instagram, that takes care of those two things. Unfortunately, if you have a LinkedIn or whatnot, you kind of have to do that separately. Because they're not owned by the same company. But I will say, to the comment earlier about Blue Sky and alternatives to Meta, you're free to make a social media account on any page possible. But I will say that something like a Blue Sky, which is still a very young social media platform, it's not going to have nearly the amount of engagement or users that some of these longer standing platforms will have. So that's just kind of, the thing. And no matter what one's viewpoint is, like, I'll be honest with you, some days, if I didn't do PR related things for a living at the college and other places, I would maybe consider staying off social media or whatnot. But kind of for work and other ways, it's kind of an essential thing to do. It's kind of where it's at as far as promoting certain things for the
I think it's an important message too to consider that you make sure you are communicating in multiple ways. And Joe kind of showed this earlier with his reuse of content. So he's sending out a press release and putting it in their newsletter that gets emailed out to their members and sharing it on social. So that way you're hopefully reaching people wherever they're at.
Yeah, and my battery is about to die, so I'm running to get the charger while I have my video.
I had to
on.
plug in too.
Anyone
No,
have?
I do want to make a clarification on the public image grant. So you are just applying to us for matching funds. We are not taking care of getting the item created or any of that. That is, you will select your vendors, you will get pricing information, and you will pay your vendors for the items. If you have an approved, so here's the process. Here's the way I will explain the process. You have an idea. You want to get a t-shirt made, and you get a sample of that t-shirt graphic form, what it's going to look like, and you send that to us through the public image grant application. You talk about it. This is what we want to do. XYZ Club, we're doing it. This is what it's going to look like. And we get the application, you meet all the requirements, we say, yes, go for it. And you submit that to the vendor and they charge you $500 for your t-shirts because you got a lot of them. You will pay your vendor in full. You will submit a paid receipt to us and we will reimburse you for up to that $250. So we match up to $250. I hope that makes sense. If you go out, you get a feathered flag, and it has your logo. I have an outside feathered flag. We have it printed on both sides. We love it. We use it at every single event. It has been out in front of banks and on highways, and so it's a great little eye catcher. 300, I can't remember what it was. So we'll call it 300. Again, you're going to submit the design to us along with your application. We're going to say, yes, this looks fabulous. Go get it. You're going to find the vendor. You will pay the vendor in full. And once we receive the receipt that the item has been paid for, we will give you up to $250 towards your item. So there.
I'll also
So
say, oh, I was just gonna say, I know that it's a requirement of the grant to have a public image chair. I don't know if all of the clubs that are represented here tonight have public image chairs in their clubs, but I would just kind of take a second to just plug that regardless of the fact that you could get really cool district public image grants, it really is a really important function in Rotary because when you think about it, public image touches everything from, helping to get your visibility out there for membership, the branding aspects of it. A lot of clubs, like I said, are not using the right branding and logos. And I think at some point in the future, a few of our committee people have talked about kind of trying to look into all of the social media pages and just kind of and we've already started contacting some about that. But just if your club doesn't have a public image chair currently, I strongly encourage you to see or put it out there if someone wants to take it over. As with everything else, there's a ton of great trainings on the Learning Center. And also, too, I'm happy, and I'm sure other committee members are as well, would be happy to make themselves available to chat with you just to see how you could, do that, or someone else in your club, if they're interested, be effective in that, because it is a really important function, especially with all that there is out there with marketing and branding and what, is going to continue to advance, I think.
So thanks, Joe. We're running a little over. I apologize. We're about 10 minutes late. I am going to put my email in the chat. Please feel free to send me a note with any additional questions that you might have, any questions about the grant. Be more than happy to answer those for you. If there was something in the presentation that you kind of felt a little unsure about, happy to walk you through any process, whether it's setting up a Facebook ad or leveraging content calendars or what have you. I know sometimes when you start seeing screens fly by, they just go by too quick. So happy to walk through all of that. And that's about it. I want to thank everybody for taking the time for being with us tonight. I hope you found value in this. And we look forward to seeing those public image applications.